Guitar tips, just the tips, just for you. Guitar tip. Hello and welcome to another episode of Guitar Tips. My name's Adam Levy. This is my video blog series right here on YouTube. You may know I'm doing this mini-series, this 26-week mini-series within the series, within the Guitar Tips series. And this week is week 9, so I'm going to talk about something that begins with I, and that thing is inversions. Inversions, you might know a little bit about it. I get lots of students who are a little bit confused about what inversions are or how to use them. So I'm going to use this tip to break down what they are and how you can use them. So first, what they are. This right here, this is a textbook C major triad. It's got 3 notes, C, E, G. The root is the lowest sounding note, root, 3rd, and 5th. If you're not sure what that means, it's just notes of the C scale. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Root 3, 5. Now, this is not an inversion, but what I'm about to do will get us to our first inversion. If you take the C off the bottom and move it up an octave and keep the other 2 notes in the same place, now of course you can't do that the way the fretboard is laid out, but you could move them over to the next pair of strings, and then you can put this note on top and you get this, which is a first inversion C major triad. Anytime you've got the 3rd on the bottom of a chord, as we do here, that's first inversion. That would be true of a triad. It would be true of a more complicated chord with a 7th or a 9th or whatever. If the 3rd is the bottommost note, then it's a first inversion of whatever it is. And we can repeat this process again. Take the bottommost note and move it up an octave. These 2 notes are going to stay the same, but just move over onto the next pair of strings. We get this. It kind of looks like a D shape, but we're up here now at the 12th fret, 12, 13, 12. The pitches are G, C, E, and in numbers, that's the 5th, the root, and the 3rd. So when we've got the 5th on the bottom, that is the second inversion. And because we're talking about triads, that's it. There's root position, first inversion, second inversion. There is no third inversion, because if we repeated that process again, we'd be right where we started, just an octave higher. I'm slightly out of tune, but what the heck. Alright, that's pretty good. So, okay, and that would be true, in whatever chord quality we're talking about. Minor triads you can invert, diminished triads can be inverted, augmented triads can be inverted, and so on. So the thing that remains true, whatever the quality of the chord is that if the 3rd is on the bottom, that's first inversion. If the 5th is on the bottom, that's second inversion. If you were talking about a 7th chord, something that's like got root 3, 5, and 7. If you put the 7th on the bottom, I suppose you could. Here's 7th on the bottom. You could call that a 3rd inversion C major 7. It doesn't come up all the time, but in theory, that you could do that, right? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay. You're going to want to know your triads all over the fretboard, not just on the first 3 strings, but on the second 3 strings, or second string set, I should say. That's root position, first inversion, second inversion, root position, first inversion, second inversion, root position, first inversion, second inversion back home. I can't get into how to do all of that right now, but in one of my earlier videos, I talk more about how to use triads to map out the fretboard. I will provide a link to it here so you can check that out. But that's a really useful thing to know. And when you're playing chords behind somebody, you want to know your triads all over the place, because depending on what else is happening in the band, like if there's another guitar player or a piano player, or even a bunch of background singers, if you're trying to stay out of the way and the chord symbol just says C, that could be anything. But by knowing where all this stuff is, you can find a way to stay out of the way of whatever else is happening. You could also voice lead. So if you had a progression that went like C, G, F, C, instead of going C, G, F, C, if you knew all of your inversions, you could voice lead it. So you could, that just means moving with the least possible leaps. So instead of going from C to G with your fingers in the same grip, you could go C to G. That's third is on the bottom, so that's first inversion. C, G, F, and then C. So root position, first inversion, second inversion. You could start up here, first inversion C, second inversion, root position. If you wanted to, you could go up. So that's second inversion, first inversion, second inversion, first inversion, and so on. So it really opens up the guitar as far as like when you're creating parts and you're trying to find a register and you're trying to make stuff move smoothly. Knowing your inversions all over the place is going to be really useful. Now, that's one of the two aspects of inversions that I wanted to talk about. The other has to do with voice leading in the bass motion. So let's say you had a bass line that was in C. We'll stay in C, keep it nice and simple. And the bass line goes down just through the scale. If you didn't know a lot about harmony, you might be inclined to just harmonize each one of those bass notes as the root of some kind of triad. So that would be C major, B diminished, A minor, G, F, E minor, D minor, C. Yeah, D minor, C. But that's not the only way to harmonize this bass line, because if you know your inversions, you could use something like this. This would be C, G, F, C, F, C, G, C. Same bass line, totally different quality, because you don't have this big kind of parallel thing, which can feel kind of clunky. This is mostly thinking about trying to use the major triads that we have at our disposal here. So C, F, and G wherever we can. So root on the bottom could be C or it could be F. When we go to B here, C on the bottom could be C or F. When we have B on the bottom, if we're trying to stick with major sounds in the key of C, then that's going to be G. A on the bottom is going to be F. G on the bottom could either be G or could be C. So check it out. Here's C, G, F, C. And now here's F, G, F, G. Same bass line, different choices. And then I'll do the last half, F, E, D, C. So we could go just straight down the harmony. So F, E minor, D minor, C. Or we could go F, C, G, C. So let me try that again. F, C, G, C. You could also get into using minor chords. So this could be D minor, E minor, D minor, A minor. You see what I did? Same bass line, but different choices. D minor with the first inversion, E minor root position, D minor, sorry, let's see, D minor, A minor, D minor, A minor. Here it is with major. So, getting a better understanding of that can help you as a composer when you're writing your own songs or your own instrumental music, to give you more options. You could start by writing a bass part, and then how you harmonize the bass part could really open up if you know all of these different inversions. There's no shortcut. I don't even have a really great exercise to prescribe for you to do this, but I would just say, write out some bass lines, things that move up, things that move down. They could even jump around a little bit, and you could still have options. So this would be the most kind of basic thing, assuming all of those were root notes: C, A minor, E minor, F. But it could also be C, F, C, F, right? Hear that? So this will help you not only when you're writing your own music, but it'll also help you when you're transcribing music, when you're learning songs off of records. The more awareness you have of what these inversions sound like, the more accurate you can be. I've seen lots and lots of chord charts on the internet and also in real life where I know that there's a kind of a misheard chord where, because whoever's made the chart doesn't understand all of the inversion stuff, they've just sort of taken a guess like, oh, that this must be this chord, when really it's more like this. Subtle difference, but it's different. So experiment with that. Learn your high triads, learn your low triads, and your close together things, and your spread out sounds, major, minor, diminished, augmented. Get to know your inversions. Inversions are such a big part of the landscape of harmony. So there you are. That's the episode for this week. Hey, I wanted to mention something I haven't mentioned here, or at least not lately. I've got this channel here on YouTube. Did you know that I've also got a channel on Patreon? It's called Guitar Tips Pro. Really similar in name, Guitar Tips Pro, but really different in content. The episodes on Guitar Tips Pro, they're not just recycled stuff from Guitar Tips. They're unique videos that I make just for my Patreon channel. Quite often there are PDFs that accompany the videos, so you can actually look at the music that I'm looking at in the examples. There's exclusive playlists that I create each month. You have an opportunity to take a guitar lesson with me. It depends on what level you're subscribed at, but that's an option that you could do. There's guest tips. Recently I've had guest tips from Molly Miller, who's a really incredible guitar player. I'm going to be posting one soon from Joshua Ray Gooch, who's really incredible. Mason Stoops has done a guest tip. I could go on. There's a lot more resources there. It's not free. YouTube is free. Guitar Tips Pro is something that you subscribe to. But you can get in on it for as little as $5 a month. And you can go up from there if you like, depending on how much resources you want to have access to. So anyway, I hope you'll check it out. There's a link down below, guitartipspro.com. Until next week, stay tuned and take good care.